This week's episode is brought to you by Chepeku and their amazingly beautiful animated maps. The war graves are not being filled anymore. No one is dying, according to the gravedigger who has hired the PCs to go and find out why. Everybody is still alive. At least that's what it seems. No one's getting sick. So off to the plague hospital, where our heroes discover, having spoken to the lead doctor there, that no one is sick either. They all apparently are being cured at the mysterious new bathhouse that's opened up in the nearby mountains. The bathhouse is creepy as hell, and they're not allowed in until they break in to discover that the bath pools all drain down into a single chamber where there is a giant salamander. The salamander actually heals those that are mildly sick, but it consumes those that are very sick. Hence, no bodies. Chepeku, we love you. So, you want to add in a little something to your game this next session, and you'd like it to be kind of like a trap, but kind of reminiscent, good times, kind of make your players hate you a little bit. What are you going to do? Hello and welcome to this week's episode of How to Be a Great GM. Today we're talking about a trap monster, make your players hate you even more because they loved it and then they felt sad and they loved it some more. That's what we're going to be talking about. This is a monster that there are no stat blocks for because the stat blocks are irrelevant. The trap itself is the monster, and the monster is not actually a monster. Haha! Surprise! Right, let me start at the very beginning. Your players have their characters that have been running around in your game session and in your game world for some time now, assumedly. And they've helped people along the way. They might not know it, but they have. So if you have some downtime and you want to add in a curious little incident, a little trap that they can spring and overcome quite easily, have an NPC from their past catch up with them. It will be weird, obviously, if they are in the heart of a dark dungeon and have struggled through miles and miles of enemies that suddenly this NPC arrives, so you have to think about it. But at the same time, the NPC arrives and says, "My good friends, you saved me all those months, weeks, sessions, however long ago, and I have come into some fortune, and our paths happen to have coincided. Allow me to bring you a dinner. Let us feast, let us sit upon the ground and tell sad tales of the death of kings, and then glorious tales of how you saved me." At first, this appears absolutely innocent, and the NPC will provide a sumptuous meal, whether it's a campfire or they book out a tavern for the night. But as the night goes on, the players should start to realize that there might be some gaps in the way that the NPC is interacting with them. The players might say, "Oh, what was the name of the barman?" Or "What was the name of the monster?" The NPC will say, "Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Oh, I don't remember. What do you think it is?" The NPC needs to start to give off the vibe that they may not necessarily be the ones who are driving the memory at all. As a matter of fact, they're not contributing in any way, shape, or form other than throwing back all of the questions to the player characters. And this should be the beginning of the end for this trap. After a first course, and the players have been reminiscing about their adventure, have them make some kind of mental resistance spell. Now, if you're running D&D, it could be a wisdom saving throw. It depends on what system you're using, but they need to resist the effect of something. Those that succeed will be aware that something is trying to get into their mind. Feels like a fog is trying to seep inside their skull. Doesn't seem to be coming from anywhere particular. And if they look at the NPC is not doing anything other than just quietly sitting there, enjoying the meal and prompting, "So what was the name of the sword you used to slay the beast that you used that was terrorizing us?" After the second course, another check should be made. This time the fog is with teeth. It's desperately trying to get into the players' heads. Those that fail, they don't seem to have any effect whatsoever. But whenever they try and add in a detail about the adventure that they are recalling, they now have to make some kind of recollection roll. Is it an intelligence check, or is it some kind of save? It's up to you as to what they do. And if they fail, they can't recall the details. The player might, but their character suddenly can't. very quickly the players will realize that their memories are being stolen by this NPC. The NPC will, the moment they realize what has happened, say, well, very good night, you've been lovely chatting, you must go, goodbye. And then they will dash. This should now become a chase. The NPC transforms from being the original NPC into this weird spider-like creature that can climb walls and climb over roofs and is very quick and very nimble. If the players can catch up with this creature and defeat it, it shouldn't be really a tough fight. The fight was more about having their memories stolen. Once they defeat the creature, if they defeat the creature, within 12 hours, their memories will be restored, will return to them. You can have this weird green energy burst out of the creature's carcass and flood back into the brains of all of the PCs. You might go, oh, that's a bit lame. I mean, is that it? No. And yes. But mainly no. I'm saying no, but I'm saying yes. Or at least so often in our gaming environment, we have adventure after adventure after adventure after adventure. We have amazing adventures. We have wonderful adventures. And maybe they get spoken about in the chats or however you run your communication with your players. But how often do you reflect back in-game upon those successes? And it's a wonderful opportunity for you as the GM to celebrate what the players achieved during the previous adventure or adventure many, many moons ago. It is also very useful for the players to remember these adventures. And possibly, if you are a cunning GM, you could use that NPC by accident to bring up an adventure where the players missed something of importance, a clue or a link that you thought was obvious and they just didn't see it. Well, now here's an opportunity for them to be sitting there going, well, you know, we went into the tavern and there was that weird stuff going on and then we moved on and we found the monster and we never did figure out how it linked back to the tavern. The NPC could then say, oh, yes, I wonder what happened there. But then, because of you and the power of being a GM, you can have the coincidence of the creature then saying, I believe it was quite a tragedy and still ongoing. Yeah, if only there were heroes that could go and sort that out. Anyway, not only do you get your players to have great memories about something that they've already done, it cements your world, it makes it feel alive, it makes them feel as if their character is alive because they're remembering what was happening. It gives you the opportunity to recall information that may have been missed in the past. It also allows you, as the GM, to celebrate your players' wonderful achievements. If you're using D&D, give them all inspiration for thinking back on their campaign. And of course, you then have this little trap that's stealing the memories away from the players as fast as it can. If the players don't ever pick up on it, well, that's absolutely fine. Most of the time, they're not reminiscing about their ancient adventures anyway, and all you need to do is make a note that the next time they say, oh, what was the name of the vizier that we met in that town? You go, you just don't remember. The creature, simple, basic numbers, shouldn't be terrifying once it's been defeated. It is a trap, after all. And now a warning. Do not do this more than once per campaign, because otherwise your players are going to get trained to mistrust NPCs. What you should do, as a matter of fact, is within a few sessions, have them come across a genuine NPC who is hunting down this imposter that supposedly can take on the shape of others and has been masquerading as one of the original NPCs. And have them genuinely be a good person who absolutely helps the party so that, my chair popped, so that you don't train your players to mistrust your NPCs. You gotta give them good with the bad. Give them some bad, give them lots of good, lots of good, lots of good, a little bit of bad, lots of good, lots of good, lots of good, because you want to have a good gaming environment. That's it from me this week. A massive thank you to all of my Patreons who've got the latest updates of the Braxia campaign that they get each month for being a Patreon, and to you for watching all the way through until the end. Hit that like button if you liked this episode, and of course the subscribe button if you want to get alerted to all of the content as it comes out and drops on the channel. Until next time, I wish you and yours the happiest of gaming.